Greetings, kindred. Today we're going to continue with our study of the book of Ezekiel. This is a study written by Pastor Lancelot Knight of the former King's Chapel. And last time we covered Ezekiel chapter 34, verses 1 through 10. So we're going to pick up here where we left off with chapter 34, beginning with verse 11. It seems that finding good, trustworthy, reliable shepherds has always been a problem. There just aren't many shepherds who are, or have been, willing to do the labor required to continually prepare fine meals to feed the sheep, when it is so easy and effortless to just tell them fairy tales and sing lullaby songs while shearing off their wool for fun and profit. Of course, that doesn't speak well about the mentality of the flocks who eagerly flock to be fleeced, does it? Any person with an ounce of common sense and access to Sunday morning TV can easily document the ease to which sheep can be shorn. It works big time. Of course, that should come as no surprise to those who have eaten from the table of Yahweh, for he foretold us in Matthew 24 and Mark 13 that there would be many false shepherds who would come in his name and deceive mass audiences. And so it has come to pass exactly as he said it would. One would think that spotting these phonies should be as easy as reading an elementary school primer. See the shepherd prance and dance. See the sheep raise their hands in the air. See the shepherd say, praise Yahweh. See the sheep say, Ba, Amen. See the shepherd say, give money and you'll be blessed. See the sheep say, must be so. See the shepherd say, you are going to fly away. See the sheep say, if you say so. The part that is not publicly shown is the actual physical shearing of the sheep, where the shepherd's helpers pass little feeding baskets around for the hungry sheep to feed on the fish and bread. No, I'm wrong. What was I thinking? It was Yeshua's disciples, his helpers, who passed around the baskets with food in them. Really, though, false shepherds are easy to recognize, for they are mostly takers and not givers. Now, some may think we are unfairly criticizing or making fun of our Christian brothers and sisters, but such is not the case. We love and pray for those who are misled by traditions of men and fed make-believe stories by so-called ministers of Yeshua. As we stated at the beginning of our last study, there is nothing more serious than willfully and deceitfully taking advantage of Yahweh's children. Do you remember the 13th chapter of Ezekiel when Yahweh dressed down the false prophets of our people who claim that Yahweh speaks to them like, oh, Yahweh just told me something out there has a bad lower back ache. Yahweh is healing you right now. Just call 1-800-GIVE-TO-ME to confirm the word. Yahweh calls them liars because he doesn't speak to them like that. Here is an excerpt from Yahweh's admonishment to the false prophets in Ezekiel 13. Ezekiel 13, verse 7. Have ye not seen a vain vision, and have ye not spoken a lying divination, whereas you say, Yahweh saith it, albeit I have not spoken? Yahweh is against that fast food junk, and he's against those who do serve it to his hungry, undernourished sheep. Verse 8, therefore, thus saith Yahweh the powerful one, because ye have spoken vanity and seen lies, therefore, behold, I am against you, saith Yahweh the powerful one. They pollute the truth of Yahweh's word for self-gain by lying to his people. The I Am is against them. Woe, he continues, Ezekiel 13, verse 19. And ye will pollute me among my people for handfuls of barley and for pieces of bread, to slay the souls that should not die, and to save the souls alive that should not live, by lying to my people that hear your lies. You guys and gals who claim to represent me lie to my children to make a fast buck. Whoa. In the very next verse, Ezekiel 13:20, Yahweh exposes their biggest fairy tale, their favorite lie of the final generation called the rapture theory, where they lie to people and tell them they are going to fly away to save their souls. The fact is that the king of Babylon is coming, and the people will not escape. Okay, I need to stop right here because as we've discussed, As we've mentioned before, the king of Babylon is already here, sitting in the temple of billions of Christians who believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, when in fact he is this false Messiah. If you didn't listen to our previous recording on this, please go back and listen to Ezekiel 34, verses 1 through 10. Okay, let's continue. They will face his sword and will be slain spiritually because, as it is written in that same 13th chapter, their shepherds have not prepared them for the battle. Woe! Ezekiel 13, verse 4. O Israel, thy prophets are like the foxes in the desert. Sneaky and crafty little critters they are. Verse 5. Ye have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel, to stand in the battle in the day of Yahweh. Therefore, since the shepherds and the prophets have failed to feed and protect the sheep, Yahweh says he will take care of it himself. How? He will send the chief shepherd. Ezekiel 34, verse 11. For thus saith Yahweh the powerful one, Behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out. Yahweh holds the false shepherds and lying prophets grossly negligent and largely responsible for the scattering of the house of Israel and Judah. Nevertheless, he knows exactly where they all are, and he will take care of his own and seek them out. Has he found you? Verse 12. As a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep and will deliver them out of all the places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. Our Father will send the true shepherd to do that which the hirelings have failed to do. And, as it is written, there shall be two advents. So Yahweh will seek out his sheep and lead them out of all the places where they have been scattered, all meaning physically and spiritually, nationally and individually. It is now a record of history that the nations of Israel, called the lost tribes of the house of Israel, were gathered following their 7 times the 2,520-year punishment, which began with their captivity by Assyria. Again, if you are not familiar with this, then read the Abrahamic Covenant by E. Raymond Catt for starters. However, even though they are physically gathered, though they know not who they are, and they have become the head of nations and not the tail, as Yahweh said they would be in Deuteronomy 28:13, who's the greatest superpower in the world today? They are nevertheless spiritually scattered, confused, and held captive in spiritual bondage by the teachings of the polluted garbage, the traditions of men, perpetrated by the false shepherds of churchianity. That is going to stop. Ezekiel 34, verse 13. And I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries, and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel, by the rivers, and in all the inhabited places of the country. This applies both nationally and individually, as we have read throughout this fine dining book of Ezekiel. Again, has he brought you out of the scattering, the confusion you were once in? 14. I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall their fold be. There shall they lie in a good fold, and in a fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel. Here's a song for the national blessings. O beautiful for spacious skies, for amber ways of grain, for purple mountains' majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, Yahweh shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Verse 15. I will feed my flock and will cause them to lie down, saith Yahweh the powerful one. Here's a song for the individual blessings. Psalms 23, verses 1 and 2, a psalm of David. Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Verse 16. I will seek that which was lost, and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. Yahweh promises that he will gather his sheep and heal their broken spirits and strengthen their spiritual sickness. Remember how Ezekiel, whose name means whom Yahweh strengthens, was made strong by feeding on the scroll the word of Yahweh. And what will happen to those fat cat preachers who feed themselves instead of feeding the word to the lost sheep? Woe, baby. That is what we are reading and learning about in this 34th chapter of Ezekiel. Yahweh promises to remove all the false prophets and raise up the good shepherd. So, in total fairness to them, he tells it like it is without mincing words, because, as it is written, judgment begins at the house of Yahweh. Ezekiel 34, verse 17. And as for you, O my flock, thus saith Yahweh the powerful one, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, between the rams and the he-goats. This simply says that Yahweh the powerful one will judge between the sheep and the goats, i.e. the sheep and their he-goat leaders, the false shepherds, including the Kenites among them. He says to the he-goats, verse 18, seemeth it a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture, but ye must tread down with your feet the residue of your pastures? And to have drunk the deep waters, but ye must foul the residue with your feet? The false shepherds sure take lightly their consuming all of Yahweh's pastures, don't they? Just look at them stomp and prance. You would think they could leave a little of the green fields to remain as virgin territory. But no, they screw up everything they touch and make cloudy the pure waters of truth with their filthy, slimy feet, which are made so raunchy by their following after the bull who roams in the fields of idolatry. Don't worry, they shall be judged, the false shepherds, that is, not the bulls. Yahweh then says concerning his flock, Ezekiel 34, verse 19, and as for my flock, they eat that which ye have trodden with your feet, and they drink that which ye have fouled with your feet. Doesn't speak too well for the sheep that they would be gullible enough to eat all that smelly toe jam and drink all that slimy water, does it? So Yahweh will judge both the sheep and the false shepherds. Verse 20. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh the powerful one unto them, behold, I, even I, will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle. Quote, therefore, Yahweh saith, I will judge between these fat shepherds and their scrawny sheep. For these shepherds push and butt and crowd my sick and hungry flock until they're scattered far away. Ezekiel 34, verses 20 through 12, Living Bible. 21, actually. 21. Because ye have thrust with side and with shoulder, and pushed all the disease with your horns, till ye have scattered them abroad. They used their power and authority, horns, to push the sheep away from the feed trough until they were scattered and confused and left to wander about the Gentile nations without the protection of a true shepherd. Do you think they will escape judgment of their deeds, which they take so lightly, with a mere slap on the wrist? Whoa, whoa, I don't think so. Nevertheless, our Father has always had a plan to save his flock. He intended from the beginning to send the true shepherd to save them and bring them peace and prosperity forever. Ezekiel 34, verse 22. Therefore I will save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey, and I will judge between cattle and cattle. It is Yahweh who does the saving, not man. And the false shepherds, who are many, could really care less about the sheep because they are too busy feeding themselves. Yeshua said it in John 10, verses 13 through 15. John 10, verse 13. The hireling fleeth because he is a hireling, and careth not for the sheep. If the hirelings truly loved the sheep, they would feed them from the word of Yahweh. Note, if you would like to read about the love required to feed the sheep, read John chapter 21, verse 14. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep. I am known of mine. As promised, our Father did send the true shepherd to save and to gather his flock. Verse 15. As the Father knoweth me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Here is his promise of that coming shepherd, even foretold in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 34, verse 23. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David, he shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. This refers to Yeshua Messiah, the son of David, who was a type. Jeremiah 23, verse 5. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will raise up unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. Verse 6. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called Yahweh, our righteousness. Note, all of the above underlined items are referenced here in Ezekiel 34 between verses 22 and 30. See if you can find them. If you have trouble, then go practice with a Where's Waldo book and try again. It will be a cinch. Ezekiel 34, verse 24. And I, Yahweh, will be there, Yahweh, and my servant David, a prince among them. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Though Yeshua Messiah is the Prince of Peace forever and ever, it is written that David shall also be a prince, a chief ruler among the people forever. Ezekiel 37, verse 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. Verse 25. And I will make them a covenant of peace, and I will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness and sleep in the woods. Did you know that all these blessings were promised long ago to Yahweh's children if they would follow after him? Leviticus 26, verse 6. And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. Although the complete fulfillment of the everlasting peace and safety occurs at the second advent, The Americas, that beautiful wilderness settled by the pilgrims of the house of Israel and established as one nation under the true shepherd, has enjoyed many of the blessings of Yahweh, including the peace and safe dwelling. But it is not because of the house of Israel obeyed Yahweh, it is because Yahweh unconditionally promised national wealth and blessings to the children of Abraham through Isaac. Ezekiel 34, verse 26. And I will make them and the places round about my hill a blessing, and I will cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessing. Again, they are blessings promised long ago by our Father to his children. They could have had them all along had they listened to him. Leviticus 26, verse 4. Then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And that rain in due season, now even in the latter day rain, which makes plump the fruit of the vine, it is the truth of Yahweh's word. It is documented in the Song of Moses, which the overcomers will be singing, Revelation 15:3, at the return of the true shepherd. Deuteronomy 32, verse 2, my doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Ezekiel 34, verse 27. And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase. And they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have broken the bands of their yoke and delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves of them. Yahweh is going to break the spiritual and physical bondage placed on his flock by the hand of the false shepherds, servants of themselves, and the chief of the false shepherd. Remember what Ezekiel was told to say unto them in verse 2? Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Woe, baby, their punishment will be severe. Verse 28. And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. Although we look forward to the time of the millennium when there shall be no more false shepherds, and the influence of Satan and his children of disobedience will not be tolerated, we can partake even now of the luscious green pastures and the protection provided by the true shepherd. Simply gather unto him and eat from the overflowing trough which gives life everlasting. That trough is the word of Yahweh. Verse 29, and I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen any more. Remember Jeremiah 23:35, we quoted earlier in this study? This plant of renown is the righteous branch, the root of Jesse, the offspring of David. He shall feed his people, and there shall be no more hunger brought about by feasting phonies who fail to feed the flock. The Prince of Peace, the chief shepherd, will return at the seventh trump, and Revelation 7, verse 16, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. Verse 17, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of water, and Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And there will be no doubt at that time who that true shepherd is. Ezekiel 34, verse 30. Thus shall they know that I, Yahweh, their powerful one, am with them, and they, even the house of Israel, are my people, saith Yahweh, the powerful one. Though today, though today they have lost their true identity and are starving for the true word of Yahweh, they are still his children, and he has not lost them. He will gather them soon after the false shepherd comes and gathers them unto him to fly them away to save their souls. Okay, I want to stop here for a minute and just re-emphasize that that false one has already come and has attempted to lead the sheep into a false belief of a rapture to fly away their souls. And many are beginning to see that we are in the end times and that rapture has not happened, nor is it going to happen. And many are beginning to see that that false Messiah is residing in their temple and are being delivered from that false teaching. Anyway, I digress. Let's continue. Verse 31. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your Yahweh, saith Yahweh the powerful one. We were men, Adam and Hebrew are the children of his flock, and he is our Yahweh. Do you love him? There can be no more fitting words to end this study than the words of the psalmist spoken of in this 34th chapter, even King David. Psalms 95, verse 6. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Yahweh our Maker. Verse 7. For he is our Yahweh, and we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. We love you, Father. Okay, that ends this chapter of Ezekiel 34. Next time we'll pick it up in chapter 35. Until then, may Yahweh richly bless you.